What's up, everybody? This is a podcast with me and Famous B. You guys can hear the previous episodes on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, plus a ton of other stuff and future episodes. But here's one we just recorded. Tonight is Monetize This. We're going to get, hopefully, a track from Famous B for tonight's Monetize This. And we'll see you guys there. Hope you guys enjoy, though, this podcast with me and Famous B.
Because I will win 2 straight. I will win 2 straight. And when I do, championship night, it's game on. I'm gonna make all 3 of you J-Bros famous.
I guess every summer is like this. The beginning of the summer is like, all right, where are the bugs coming from? And then sometime in the end of the summer or sometime in the late summer, then it's like, okay, where are the bugs coming from again? I guess that's going to be every year, because that was last year and now it's happening again.
Shit. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I don't know, like, I've never been out there where you're at in like Boston area. But I get a picture that it's always cold, right? You know, so it's kind of crazy, like, to hear bees, you know, or like just fucking around out there. Because like, you would think, you know, like bees are like in hot areas or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like right around May it starts getting to be kind of like all right, and then yeah, like then June, you know, so June, July, and August is like summer. It's like hot. So we get that burst of 3 or 4 months, and then really it's cool to other people, and then cold. February is the coldest month.
Okay, yeah. Damn, that's a trip, man. It's like shit over here, dude. It's like sunny year round usually for the most part.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it would be, but like the more I don't know, the more I'm alive, the more I want to be in the warm air, because like you start getting, I don't know, man. I can start feeling the sun. Like it's weird. Like I should probably hit record so we record this whole thing. Let me see. Yeah, man, like, so we can do this whenever you want, like monthly, weekly, whatever.
Okay, yeah, I'm totally down, man. Like, you know me, I love coming on the shows and you know, chatting with you guys, and you know, the community is, you know, always been good to me too. So, you know, yeah, man, definitely, man. Hell yeah, man. I love being on you guys' show. So hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, sometimes we'll have like, I'll get Jake or whatever, other people, whatever. And then I'm gonna be doing this thing now where like I'm just gonna do this podcast and then have different people on it and stuff like that. So that's a different thing I'm doing. But
gotcha.
So I'll let you know when I do that. But
okay,
yeah,
sweet.
But dude, yeah, all right, well, I'll start it up. Screw it, because we'll just talk. But
yeah.
Let me just tweet out real quick.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm working on this record, man. It might be I'm pretty much done with it, man. I would want to send it to you, man. That should be dope, man. If you want to throw it on the show or play it on the show or whatever, that'd be cool, man. Like, I'm pretty proud of it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That'd be great. Like, dude, that would I would love to play that, dude. Is it all your stuff, or is it remixes and then your stuff, or just remixes?
No, well, it's just the beat. It's just the beat. It's the Money in the Gray beat. But I wrote, you know, the song and, you know, just did it my own version of it. So it's all, you know, my voice, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all my voice and my lyrics. It's just the beat is
a new take on
it's basically like a mixtape song.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, dude, that last the thing you made on me when we did the rap thing, like that was really damn good. Like it was so funny, like because it was so good, and I was like, oh my god, I should have. I remember thinking like the joke was kind of that, like everybody's like, oh, Joe always sounds like Eminem or something. So then, like, I went full. I was like, all right, I'm gonna purposely sound like him. Then, like super sound like it. And then I remember when you made yours, I was like, oh my god, he made something so cool and good. I should have gone into like I should have done like something crazy or different that nobody. I should have gone in complete opposite direction of what I did. This is so funny.
Two things. One, I had the advantage because, like nobody knew what I could do. You know what I mean? So it was whatever I did would have been a surprise to people as long as it fucking was, coordinated and cohesive.
Yeah.
People would have been surprised because, coming from me, people would have been like, oh shit, like, okay, but yeah, dude, like, I had a big advantage because you didn't know what direction I was coming from, what I could have brought to the table or whatever. But
yeah,
and my second thing I was gonna say is though, you have me beat though if it was a freestyle, for sure.
Maybe, yeah,
for sure, hands down. Like I think if we were gonna freestyle against each other, like on a spot, that's where you get me.
It's weird because that came from the shows, because years ago we had that was my wife. I guess I left the butter out or something like that. I don't know. When I went to go fight the bee, I left the butter out or something. So no, but it's like I think it was like monetized this like in 2013 or something like that. It might have been back then that somebody called up and they were like let's battle or something, and I was like, yeah, like I don't know, I never did that. So like we put on a beat or something, and I was messing around, and he was messing around, and it was better. And yeah, it was weird. It's not that like I have a ceiling. I can only do so much with whatever I do, but that's about it. I can reach this little level, and that's it. Like with yours, I think the only thing good in mine was like I had some kind of like weird like racist like or something like that. Like I'll go back in time or something.
Oh
like,
man, yeah.
Put you on, like,
dude, I was rolling, bro.
Yeah, that was a really good, like that was the best thing on my whole thing. But yours was even from the beginning to the end was like a complete song, whereas mine was like started off really like pretty good for a second, and then it just kind of like got like super cheesy after that. So, but yeah, dude, it was a lot of weird stuff too. Like I was supposed to face somebody else, and all these weird communication things happened. Right. And then I was like, all right, I will take him on or whatever. And then I even messaged you like, hey, is it cool if I make a diss track on you instead of like just a regular rap song? And then you were like, cool. But then like I guess people didn't know that or something. I don't know. It was weird. There's always weird communications with me over there. But so I was like, all right, well, whatever. I'll do whatever I want, because originally I wasn't even going to be in it. But yeah, next time I'll have to come up with something more creative or whatever. But yeah, dude, I get a beat every day. It feels like every other day. So there's got to be like a nest or something. But like you're in LA, I'm in Boston, and one of the things that I'm saying is like, dude, I am like craving the sunlight. Like what was it? It was just winter, and during this pandemic, because of the pandemic, I think more than ever, I was like days ago, I was dying for there to be sun outside, and there was one day where it was 40 degrees. Or 30 degrees or something. I was like, good enough. And I went out and I sat on the porch in the sun. Because, like, and that tells me, like, dude, I must have needed, like, vitamins or something, like, because I wanted to sit in the sun. And,
dude, 40 degrees, like,
yeah.
To me, that's like, there's no fucking sun. Like, there, well, to me, that's like, that's fucking freezing.
In the sun.
Just
30 or 40.
Like 70 every day and shit like that. You know what I mean? If it drops below, like, 60, something like that, that's where we start freaking out here. Like, oh my God, it's so cold. It's freezing.
Yeah, no, when
you're 30 degrees under that outside, like, sunbathing and shit. Like,
that's what I was doing. I was sunbathing at like 38 degrees on the porch, because it feels like, it feels warm when you're in the sun. In the cold, there was enough sun that it feels warm. But that's how much I wanted the sun, man. I was like, please give me the sun. Like, I can feel that, that I felt like a sloth in the house. And I don't know, man, it's weird. Then I started talking with somebody on a podcast that day, and then we started talking about, because of the sun and the way we were feeling inside, locked inside the houses, then we started talking about like black skin and white skin and like the sun, and how like, it's way harder and then because of the pandemic, we were talking about vitamin D deficiencies. So we were talking about like how black people's skin is like, it's harder to absorb vitamin D because, in Africa in the sun, it's like your body like had so much exposure to the sun, you know, it takes in enough. But when people migrated north, you know, their bodies were out of the sunlight, and people went into caves a lot, and it was a lot darker, and so the skin pigmentation changed to be whiter because it needed to let the sun in more to get the vitamin D to absorb it better. And or that's at least what the scientists say. So we were talking about how, you know, a white guy can go outside and he absorbs vitamin D like boom, you know, like, and black people have a tougher time absorbing it. But also, you know, you don't like burn, like, you know, like my kids fry. Like, dude, my kids are paler than I am. So like when my kids go outside, it's like a concern. Like for more than 15 minutes, like they have to be covered in like sunblock. It's or they're or they're like burning. Like there was one day where we forgot we didn't have sunblock yet because it's not summertime, and my kids are like redheaded and like pale white, and the younger two are. My older kid is more like Italian looking, and so they're outside and they're like they got burns on them that were like bubbling in one spot, and I was like Jesus, and they were only out for 40 minutes. It's crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my neighbor's
that
kid.
is crazy, man. That's a trip.
That's what. So it started making me think about like evolution and like the way we move and where we are on the earth and stuff like that. I started thinking about all that, and I was like, yeah, that's crazy. Like how, and you know, they started coming out with people in the South have vitamin deficiency or whatever, and I'm like, and they were trying to say that that's why people are getting sick, and I'm like, dude, I don't think that's why they're getting sick. If you
not at all.
It's just you're studying these people only, so they already have a vitamin D deficiency, like, but the people are dying like in other countries everywhere. It doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and by the same exact thing, you know, it's like no matter where you're geographically located, you're still being affected and dying by the exact same thing.
Yeah, the death rate in Sweden is actually higher than almost anywhere. They're doing that whole, like, whatever, we don't care thing, almost, like, slightly distancing, but not shutting anything down anywhere. But
like mini Georgia?
Yeah, yeah. But in Sweden, dude, it's like mostly white people, and they're all, like, you know, they're all at a good distance away from each other, because Sweden's, like, it's way rural. So you would think that they would do all right with it, but their death rate is weirdly high. And those people, I can't believe those people are vitamin D deficient, because they're so, like, they get the sun, like, they go to work, they get vitamins. So they're not vitamin D deficient, so that whole thing's out the window to me. Like,
how much of your I guess you could say like your culture and like your, you know, like your family tree, the lineage of where you come from plays a role into that? How much do you think? You know what I mean? Because if you look in somebody's background and you look at their family and you know, what they're mixed with or where they came from, you know, whether it be by race, whether it be by a geographic location, how much of the culture you think plays a role into that? Actually, how much efficiency you do have or don't have?
Well, like,
you know what
so.
I mean?
Like, I use the example of, like, the Neanderthal blood or whatever, the mixing of the Neanderthals or whatever, because we're super Irish, right? So, like, Leah, I know that I have a little bit of it too, but Leah has a lot of that, like, Neanderthal blood and or whatever, that makeup, because I guess that's the other thing is, like, when people left Africa, they started moving up north and going everywhere. And then they supposedly, like, bred with the Neanderthals, you know, like, they were compatible. So there's that mix, and they know that because it's in our DNA. When I look up my DNA chart, it tells you some of that stuff. So it's crazy. And, you know, redheads, like, I think they, like, have to be careful with redheaded people when they have anesthesia, because they like, doesn't work on them all the time or something.
Right.
Because, like, I don't know, something about that, the genes or something, it's weird. So, like, they have to be really careful with it. Like,
so you're in surgery, in the middle of surgery, get your ribs cut open, and you pop up like the Undertaker.
Yeah, dude. Like
what's going on here? Why is my guts on the floor?
2004 showed that redheads require, on average, about 20% more anesthesia than people with dark hair or blonde coloring. And in 2005, researchers found that redheads are more resistant to the effects of local anesthesia, such as numbing drugs used by dentists.
Just give them a bottle of tequila and a tranquilizer gun.
Yeah,
and that'll
like
solve the whole problem.
Hey, I'm gonna have to drink this bottle of whiskey as well, like before you put this anesthesia in me or whatever. Yeah, dude. Like, so, like, I had anesthesia, had no problems, but I don't look redheaded. I'm like dirty blonde. You know what I mean? So my predominant genes aren't red, so I'm probably okay, even though I have that in my family. Because we couldn't have had redheaded kids if we didn't have the gene. If I didn't have redhead genes and, you know, whatever. So you have to have both. So yeah, dude, it's really weird. So Leah has it. So like she's like super weird about stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I wonder how it affects us too. The blood is a big thing. They think type O blood is pretty resistant to it, but that's like most things. So they just know that anyway. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's really crazy. That's why I do those ancestry things, although they're probably gonna, you know, come kill me someday or something now. But what's it like in your area with this? Like, are people, is it like, I don't even know like where I'm assuming you're where I used to live, which was like, I was in a suburb right outside of Boston. So pretty city like, but just outside of the main city. That's where I lived. And I'm assuming somewhere in LA is where you are.
Yep, exactly. Just you know, it's like maybe like about 10 miles right outside of downtown LA, you know what I mean? So not too far from, you know, the heart of it all, you know, at least what everybody sees on TV and all that, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Staples Center and all that. Yeah, you know, I'm not far. I'm like 10 minutes away from all that. But yeah, I mean, I guess what it's like over here now, it's you know, we've been doing a lot of well, I'll say we, not me, but it's been, you know, obviously this whole protest has people going crazy, you know, like pretty much taking over roads and walking in the street, and you know, Black Lives Matter is out and all that stuff right now, you know, kicking in
Well,
police
get out there.
car
What are you
windshields.
doing? Get out there. What are you doing? Get a pipe and just
get a pipe and take it to the police car like Kofi Kingston did Randy Orton shit that one time, right?
Are white people out there like running to stores to get Black Lives Matter shirts so people don't kill them or something?
No, it's actually not like that. In terms of like, I guess you could say the racial tension, between, you know, just, you know, races out on the streets. It's more or less, like you know,
against the police,
the cops. Yeah, against the police. Yeah. But they're standing guard. They're really, not, being, you know, like, over the top and stopping whatever's going on. And, I was watching on the news, this one dude, a police officer, was saying, like, yeah, we respect the, you know, their rights to express themselves and express their frustrations and this and that. We're just here having a presence just to make sure nobody gets hurt, kind of deal. So, you know, they're really, I guess, you know, watching what they're saying, watching their actions and what they do, because I don't think they want to piss people off any more than they already have, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I don't know what happened in Minneapolis, but those people were dumb. Like the cops there, the cops in Minneapolis are stupid. We were listening to them on the scanner, and it's like they couldn't even protect their own police station. Like, I mean, it was really, like, they're really dumb. But there's all kinds of weird stuff, man. I don't yet know how to formulate a conspiracy, but you got the white guy in the all black outfit with a black umbrella bashing windows in, setting the fire on purpose, which is weird. I don't know what to say about that. Then you get what was it, the CNN reporter that was arrested live on CNN last night, which seemed very staged to me.
Wow.
I'm just really cynical about this. Like, why would those riot cops knew they were on TV, and it was like, you know, I don't know. It was just very weird. It was like they purposely arrested him to show everybody on CNN. And then, you know, now Joe Biden just came out with a big speech about loving each other or something like that. So I'm like, maybe that's what it is. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell people. Like, I'm not sure. You know, some people think it's, you know, some people think it's Trump attacking him. Some people think it's Biden attacking to make Trump look worse. So then he can come in like, I love you, you know, to get the black vote or something. Like, there's all kinds of every conspiracy, dude. And what it tells me overall is that people don't believe anything anymore, and they're freaked out. Like, everybody is freaked out. Nobody believes anything. not really like me and you, because I feel like we're more like, I guess, more of the normal side of things. I think most people are pretty rational, kind of, but there's a lot of people who aren't. And anybody who's not doing somewhat well in life, or at least cruising along still, they're the ones that are freaking out. Because they're like, well, what's going on here? So,
yeah. I mean, I guess I kind of look at it like there's a bigger picture to what's actually going on versus getting caught up into what's going on or being wrapped up too tight emotionally into what's going on. Just because I know myself, you know what I mean? And like, I'm the type that, when I feed into something, I really feed into it. You know what I mean? Like, kind of wear my heart on my sleeve kind of deal. So, like when it comes to things like this that you can't control, it's like I take a step back outside of the bubble and, obviously be aware of my surroundings and be aware of what's going on. But kind of seeing what the bigger picture is, kind of like understanding a little bit more than just the actual facts of the happenings, in society, today, yesterday, tomorrow, whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? Like, because my whole thing is you have to, life's about awareness and being aware of what's going on. There's certain things that you can do and there's certain things that you can change, but there's a lot of things that you can't, so when it comes to what's happening in society, when it comes to media, when it comes to the virus, when it comes to like all these things that you can't control, it's almost like, like, okay, well, what's the bigger picture? What's really going on in the world? And I think what's really going on, the bigger picture on a grander scale to me, is that this year there's a certain energy, the way the planet alignment is, that has everything out of whack.
Yeah, there's something wacky.
So to me, it's like I understand on a bigger scale what's happening versus just being indulged in the actual happenings of it. It's just that, I'm aware of it and, I don't feed too much into it because I don't want to give my energy into that, because it's like, I understand how important the energy is right now. And it's fucked up. Let me tell you, like the way that everything has happened ever since January, you know what I mean? When 2020 hit, it's like this whole year's been a clusterfuck. We're barely about to hit June, right? But it's been fucked up ever since January hit. And then, the whole Kobe Bryant thing was like the kickoff. That was the kickoff of it all.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, now we have a virus. Now everybody's getting sick, and now we got to shut down everything, and you know what I mean. And now there's riots in the street because now it's brutality, and all this going on. Is just, I understand that this year is gonna be hit hard. When you look at the deaths of celebrities and things like that is abnormal. As people,
the weather is coming too. A lot of people don't really understand the weather right now I'm telling you, is wild. I've never seen stuff like I've seen, man. I watched the radars and the seismographs and stuff like that. What was it, like a couple of years ago? They moved the emergency level for some of the earthquake warnings. I forget what the numbers are, but they moved it from like 4 to 6 or something. So like if you were to get a 4 on the Richter scale earthquake, like or a prediction for one or whatever, they used to measure it and they used to report it.
Right. So it registers.
Right. So it's
down. Because they don't bother with the little small tremors, right?
Right. So, but if you were to look at that like a pattern, you would see now that they're down, but they're not down. They're doubled, but their measuring stick for caring about it is down. So they changed the measuring stick. It'd be like if, the baseball was like, now every home run only counts as half a home run, and they're like, this guy only hit 10 home runs this year, so right. It's like what they did, and it's weird. So if you actually look at the numbers, it's on the rise. So there's all these hurricanes and tornadoes, and so I'm worried, dude, about that happening.
Right.
You guys over there, I'd be more worried about like the earthquake thing, but over here it's like tornadoes. Like we're gonna get activity that's weird. I'm just like, what else can happen, man? I feel like we just got to get out of the year, and that's probably us thinking of it all in a round hole. But it may not be just 1 year. It may just be the start of 3 to 4 years that are weird. I mean, I really hope that's not true. But
Right.
yeah, man, let me drop off. That's pretty intense. Let's go to something lighter. Let's go to something lighter, man. What do you think about the TNT AEW Championship belt? Apparently that's the finished product right there, if you see it.
Wow. I mean, it reminds me of the the TNA, what was it called, the main event title or something like that, when they had the main event Mafia, right? And like Booker T had it or something like that.
Yeah.
That's like the first thought I get, when I see it.
Yeah, look,
with the red strap and all that. Like, yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. It reminds me of the main event Mafia belt from Impact Wrestling. But I like it. It's pretty cool. I like that they have the TNT like right in the middle, because you can cross reference with the wrestling product, obviously the network, which hasn't been done before. I mean, like you've never seen a title that had USA on it. You know what I mean? Because the wrestlers been on that channel for, all these years or whatever. But
Fox
I think
wants one now. Now Fox is gonna be like, can we get a Fox belt? Like, what the hell?
Right? Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. I think the thing that stands out to me the most is the TNT. Right. Having the aspect of the network on the belt is the thing that stands out the most, because I haven't seen that before. It hasn't been done before, and that's what makes it cool, and that's what makes it different and stand out.
It makes me think of I actually like it. Everybody was kind of like rough on it at the beginning, not that rough, but people were pretty rough on the all silver looking belt. I think maybe if you put some diamonds or something in the middle, I guess, but right. I like that it's not. I like that it's more plain. That's the point. You don't want the thing to outshine the main title. Like in WWE, I feel like all the belts look pretty decent, but they mostly look the same. So it's kind of like, that's boring. I don't understand the distinguish between all of them. Like, it's so ridiculous. But with TNT and this being like, this is like your prime time. We're on prime time TV, weekly defended title belt. This is. I like it next to the world title, because the world title really looks like the title, and this really looks like it's something important too. So I actually like this belt a lot. I mean, maybe with black strap it would look, or white strap it maybe would look better. Maybe it's the red that throws people off, but I don't mind it. Although Cody came out and kind of said like, I'm gonna defend it every week. So
right, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, as you were speaking right now, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, you think of Intercontinental, kind of like champion or whatever, like from back in the day. Oh, WWF, that was the workhorse. You know what I mean? Like, that was the title that you're gonna see this guy wrestle every week. You know what I mean? So that's what I was thinking in my head. Like, whoever has this strap, you're pretty much saying this is the guy who you're going to see in a match, or, featured in a match. Maybe not the main event all the time, but you're going to see this guy wrestling on the show very often.
What do you think that, cause the only thing I got concerned about with that was I went, oh man, so that means the belt wasn't expected to be defended every week. Cause I thought maybe the belt would come with that sort of clause, like, it's got to be defended on TV at least once a month or once a week or something. And we never really got that answer, but Cody instead said, I will put the belt on the line every week. So they decided to kind of give him the good guy rub on that instead of it being demanded.
The fighting champion. Like, it's coming from him. He's the one initiating the what we know that the title should represent. He's the one initiating it, and either way, that's cool. I just hope that once he transitions to someone else other than himself, they can keep that moniker going.
Well, that's what worries me a little bit. Like, when the heels, like, that's why I would have liked it better, I think, if maybe they had proclaimed that the belt must be defended at least every 15 days on TV or something like that, because now if a heel gets it, now if the heel says, "Oh, I'll be defending it every week too," like no matter how you work that, it doesn't seem right. It's because you would think the heel would be like, I don't want to have to defend this." So it would be. So that's the only thing I don't like about it to me, because that happened in WWE too, where what Cena would do the open challenge thing, and that was cool. And then I forget, at some point somebody else had it. And they were like, "I'm going to do an open challenge." And it was like, what? You're the heel. Like, this is, why are they doing? Like, it just doesn't seem right. So I'm hoping that, at some point Cody goes, "I've had it mandated by the office that this belt now is defended." So I hope that these are stupid little things, but like, I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about, where I hope they sort of mandate it before he ever loses it, because otherwise it's awkward then when it gets to somebody else.
Right, exactly. I think they usually pretty much do a good job of keeping the integrity of things like that, in my opinion. So I think however they play it out, or whatever role the person is that, is the champion, somehow, some way it will fit into the storyline, or they'll find a way to fit it into the storyline, whether it be heel or face. Because once again, it seems like Cody does do a good job of upholding a tradition,
Yeah, you're right. And so they know what they're doing. So yeah, I'm not as worried, but there's just a little bit of it that's like, oh boy.
Yeah, it's always going to have its little, pros and cons, and, it's always going to be little hiccups here and there. But, for the most part, from what I've seen, it does seem like, like they do a good job of, like, keeping the tradition going, you know what I mean? Because Dusty, had a lot of ideas and started a lot of things for the first time, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, they kind of have that same mentality, you know what I mean? With, obviously having Cody aboard.
With the in AEW, do you have anybody that that's gone over there that has done well? I mean, I think more. You know a lot of guys everywhere, but I mean the WWE.
Yeah.
I know John Morrison's over there and whatever else. So you got, and you left Lucha around with Sonny Kiss, right? Like there was a couple people who tried to get out of that contract over there, and
yeah, it was me, Sonny Kiss, and Jeff Cobb was lumped up all together at the time that we were trying to get out. I mean, everybody was trying to get out at their particular times once, they saw where it was going. But at that particular time, when we kind of made the conscious decision, and we kind of all did around the same time, so it was us three that we were trying to get out of it. But I mean, it's pretty much written on the wall now. I mean, like so it's pretty much written on the wall.
You would have still been there, like unable to even do anything. Like it's crazy, like how they you would have been just stuck.
Right.
What'd you think about did you see the stuff that you obviously saw the stuff that happened to JD the other day, right?
Yeah,
that was crazy.
I've been hearing that.
You ever think about that? Like, the guy, I mean, like, because it happens to me too. Like, I'll go on rants about people, and one of the things you don't remember is, like, you're going to run into somebody eventually that you said something about, maybe.
True. Yeah, it's more or less it's more or less like and it depends. It's very not speaking from the personal standpoint of what was said between him and that individual, or whoever is said about, because that's more personal. That's like not speaking on that aspect of it, but just speaking from a standpoint of like an outsider. It's kind of like you kind of have to pick and choose what you say depending on what you're going for. You know what I mean? You have to keep a certain level of professionalism. Once again, depending on what you're going for, or depending on how you portray yourself to the public. You know what I mean?
Well, I think so. I think what you're saying, professionalism from him. I think one of the things that's weird is, I think most of the time he's straight up serious about what he's talking about, and even when he's ranting, he's pretty serious even when he's ranting, and sometimes that's funny because he's so angry that it's funny. But I feel like what I do over on my show is more comedy. Like I feel like a lot of what I do is understood to be comedy. And so I think when he talks about what he said about women or whatever he says, it's like looked at more seriously. So I think he, like, I don't know, like it's almost like he's got to be aware that he's trying to take himself way more seriously than I am. And so there's a perception of that. And so then when some people see that, they're like, oh, wow, he really means this stuff about these girls. Whereas if I said, like, you know, some girl's mangled body or something, but even as silly and crazy and weird as I am, I'm trying to think if I've said something like that. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. You know what I mean? Like I've called like Ryback things and other people like goofballs and scumbags or like liars or, you know, he's a goofy idiot or something. But I don't know, man. I don't think I've ever, even as crazy on my show as we are, I don't know if I've ever been like, look at this guy's mangled body. Like, you know, like donations have come in before about Charlotte. And I'm like, ooh, like, I'm like, even I think like, what the hell, you know, like that they're trying to be funny or whatever. But like, I guess I don't see this. I don't know, man. I'm trying not to be I'm trying to be virtuous or like better because like I say crazy things. You know, I feel like I've said worse things than he does. But people know that it's half comedy and half a show. Where his is 90% like his
serious.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the case. And then I'm trying to think of it from like a wrestler's standpoint. Like you're going out there and you're wrestling and it's art. Like it's your creation. It's what you do. You're part of it. It's all you. And then some weasel dude's like reviewing your match and then says that, you know, he looks like, I don't know. Like he looks like a mangled
I could definitely speak to that. I've been annoyed by criticisms and critiques that I've heard. You know, like I definitely have. I've heard, you know, like you know, Brian Alvarez or somebody review my match and say this and that, and kind of think, well, you know, like all right, that's oh wow, that's how you feel, huh?
Yeah.
You know, kind of deal.
Because it bothers you. You're
know,
like, whoa, like I thought it was all right, and he really hates it. I'm whoa, like I get that.
Yeah, or just certain small things that's kind of like certain small things, and just to give an example, like oh, you blew a spot right here. It's like, oh well, no, not. How do you know if it was me or who I was wrestling? You know what I mean? Like, how do you
like
know
he's not a wrestler. He's not a wrestler.
You don't know what you know what we're trying to accomplish because you weren't there when we, you know what I mean? Like was in the ring working. So it's like, how do you know who blew what? Because you don't know where we're going. You're just watching.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I mean, it's certain things that just kind of. But I mean, you know, that's just like a personal experience thing. But I say that to say certain things can, you know, affect, you know, the performer listening. You know, like this is what I do. This is this is my talent. This is my passion. This is, you know, so it's like, it's kind of like if you put your all into something and somebody walks by, like, let's say, for example, like you're a painter, right? And you're painting in public and, you know, like you put your all into it. You've been painting for years and you know what I mean? You put everything you have into it and it's what you do. And you're painting a picture in public, right? Like, let's say in the middle of a mall, right? And somebody just walks by and they're like, yeah, well, it looks kind of cool, but you could have used red over here, or you know what I mean? Or like I can't really make that out. What is it? Like I don't get it. And you know, it's like one of those things where it's like this is a constant for you know, what we do, because we're obviously constantly reviewed. Everything's constantly reviewed, you know, like everybody's watching, everybody's commenting about it on social media and talking about it, you know, amongst them, you know, their peers and their friends. But now Nowadays, it's more on a social platform. It's out for everybody to see. Where back in the day, like when we were in high school, we were watching wrestling during like the Attitude Era. We talked about it amongst ourselves with our friends the next day at school. It didn't get to Twitter. It didn't get to the whole world. You know what I mean? It didn't get to the wrestlers what you thought of Val Venus last night. You know what I mean?
The only place you saw what I see now, the only place is those dirt sheet like emails or the websites, like whatever, like lordsofpain.net or something like that. Right. You would see the thread.
Those forums, right? Those threads, those forums where you could go and like, create a name or something like that and kind of chat in the forum.
Yeah, and it'd be like Bugsy1 would be like, man, I don't know, last night Val Venus was like, looked tired or something. Like you would see that stuff, or like maybe like the Dave Meltzer stuff, but that was so contained.
Exactly.
But now it's like, I'm saying, I could say a criticism about something to the actual, all the wrestling audience and listeners, like, can hear it, like, and anybody everywhere, and everyone's talking about it. And like you said, Alvarez, or like, you may not know, like a guy may miss a spot in a match and then he gets lost or something gets messed up and you go, oh, do the whatever, like do the alphabet or whatever, and maybe the alphabet means, off the rope, duck a clothesline, and then, you're gonna fall, you're gonna go in the corner, reverse me, and I'm gonna jump up, and you have a whole sequence planned or something, and maybe he misses what you said, and then he's trying to ask you what, so he throws a clothesline at you and you duck. And then you go, hey, let's drop kick. You're gonna sell a drop kick, and you jump up, and the guy moves completely out of the way, and you miss it, and you look stupid. But it's like you didn't. And then Alvarez is like, dude, last night he just drop kicked, and this guy, it just looked weird, and he fucked up. And you're like, well, I called a drop kick. He was looking for a call. I called a drop kick, and he like didn't hear me. So it's not that anybody messed up directly. Or it's probably something worse than that. But there's all these things nobody knows. I don't either. None of us do. And I think I like being called out with that stuff. Like if somebody, like if I said something like that, I'd want to be called out, but I'd want a wrestler to tell me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, by the way, this is why. But why is it their job to have to? It's not your job to have to run around correcting all these people. So you really can't do anything about it, and it's like you have to sit there and like bite your tongue and just be like, oh my God, they're getting everything wrong about me. And I know what that's like because people do that to me now. So now I know what you're sort of a little bit of what the wrestlers go through because there's people doing shows on me and doing things on me and saying this and that. And I'm like, that's not what that meant. Like, fuck. Like that's not.
And it's just like little things too, like where it's like the criticism or the pickiness can be like, oh, he forgot the leapfrog. In the same match that like hit the ropes and did a backflip and dove out the ring, missed it but still landed on my feet, it took a DDT on the apron, stuff like that. Like it's kind of like okay, like that's your criticism, like you're worried about a leapfrogger with all this other stuff, but none of that stuff gets mentioned too. So it's kind of like as a performer, you could feel like you could be judged, your work can be judged unfairly, but at the same time, it's somebody else's opinion at the end of the day, and
people are talking about you. I guess like it's a
at the end of the day, it's somebody else's opinion. What can you do? But those little things and I'm speaking strictly from a talent perspective, because I'm trying to give you a good idea of what a performer would think,
right?
Or how a performer feels, like coming from that perspective, because I can, like see it from both sides. I can see it from the reviewer and critique side, because I can do the same myself. We have been talking, I have been. And I can also see it from a performer's standpoint as well. So, I just definitely want to give, everybody out there, how I felt as a performer this side, because I think that is important because we don't hear the talent actually talk about things like this enough. The only thing we see is the talent pretty much backlash, on social media or something when something
until it
happens.
blows up or something finally. Like, and these people probably listen to, like, the people mad at JD probably heard him for a long time, and probably maybe. I mean, I'm either that or they never heard him, and when they heard this, they just flipped out. But they've heard a lot. These people have heard a lot of criticism.
It's possible. I mean, it's definitely possible. I think that after you get to a certain level of recognition, there's certain things about, like, your I guess you could say, I don't know what's the right word here. I don't know if it's persona. I don't know if it's persona. I don't know if it's stick. I don't know what the right word is, but after you get to a certain level of recognition, I guess you can say, by an audience, you kind of have to. Okay, for example, I'll put it this way. You tune out of it
because you're so big. It's like, this doesn't matter. I don't need to listen to anybody. I'm fucking a star.
I'll put it this way. So WWE was an attitude era raunchy, obviously. But once they started to go, more big and went public and went corporate, they have to change their approach.
Right.
Because you have to appease your sponsors. You have to appease now that next level of your audience and the public that's now watching you. And it's one of those things where you have to make those little adjustments here and there at those certain checkpoints. Because it's important, because things like this happen. What I mean? Like, it's important, but that, once again, it's up to what you're going for. It's up to what you're going for, and it just it's case by case scenario. But like, I get where he's coming from, like, not in a sense of what was actually said and what happened, but in the sense that when he presents his work, he presents it in his truest, authentic form of opinion that he possibly can. You can see, like you said, that he means what he says and he's passionate about what he says. But like, it's one of those things too. It's like, sometimes you can't say everything you feel, especially when you get to a certain point, depending on what you're going for. You know what I mean? And I think this is a classic example or classic case of what happened, where it's like, you have a platform to express yourself however you want, right? But it gets to a point where you can't talk about it like how you would talk, you know what I mean? Like on a normal, with your buddies.
Well, like, I think that, like if I was him, I am surprised, because he's so all about brand and professional, all this stuff, so much that, like, I'm not like that. I'm going to say whatever, and I don't take myself that serious, but I do, but I don't, like he does, in a way. But I get what he does, and it's working great for him. He's got way more subs. He's calling for House of Glory. It's like, I'm still calling for, like, very small companies out here that no one's ever heard of or whatever. So, but if I was calling for, like, House of Glory, and I had over 100,000 whatever, and Chris Van Vliet was interviewing me and stuff like that, right, I would definitely think about, like, man, I might have to tone it, change this a little bit, to what I'm doing, because before I was doing it more for, like, the fans and, not expecting anybody to hear it really, and, I'm obviously goofing around, but there's going to be people watching me now that are like, I'm going to have to be more professional than I was before. Where, like, now, like, I feel like I'm still under the radar. I'm still undergroundish, to me. Like, I think my show's very underground still. So I'm still kind of flying under that radar, which is cool, because I think I like that, because it's all this freedom. If I ever, like, blew up, like, if I blew up to 300,000 subscribers over the week or something, I would be like, oh shit, like, I've got to really kind of, like, change a little bit of what I'm doing in a way, because I mean, I need to do it anyway. Everybody does anyhow, and it's in a way it sucks, but it also doesn't. I just didn't agree with when people were calling him a cyberbully. I was like, dude, this guy is not a cyberbully. He's a harsh, asshole lipped little bastard, like giving his review. Like, I mean, he's not, he's a little prick is what he is. He's not a cyberbully, like, so like that's the thing. Right. When people started comparing him to that or like, because they could do that with anybody, then they could do that with me. So like I was very defensive of that to him, because even though he's me and him don't get along anymore, it's like, what, this guy's not a cyberbully though, bro. Like he's being cyberbullied now, which is cool. Like, it's cool that he, like, someone snapped back on him. I don't have a problem with that. I think Alexa, obviously, like, a troll account sent her a video to trigger her to, like, line up with this whole thing. So to me, it's like a big conspiracy, dude. I almost think, like, Ryan Satin or somebody, like, created that account. Like, was like, I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to get him finally after all this time. But who knows? But, yeah, man, I guess we can move off of that. But it was just a weird time, man. Everybody's so sensitive and crazy and gets caught up in stuff. And, even my wife was like, what are you doing, like, defending him or whatever? And, like, I'm, like, getting a fight. I'm like, I got to get off Twitter, man. Twitter's a mess. Twitter is an ugly place, dude. Like, it's really a crazy place. Like, it's good, but because you can connect with people, that's the thing. But it's the people on there, the mob mentality is really crazy. Like, you ever had a mob go after you? You stay under the radar pretty much. Like, you're super under the radar. Like, you got that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have the LA mindset though, but you're not from LA originally. You're from
No, yeah, I am.
You are?
Yeah, originally.
I thought you were
LA, born and raised, yeah.
I thought you were like San Mateo or somewhere out.
No.
Oh, wow.
No, not at all. Yeah, no, LA, born and raised.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you've got that West Coast mindset. Like, everybody I work with or that I talk with or friends with or whatever from the West Coast, it's always such a like, everybody, seriously, like, on my show, it's a real thing, man. Like, people out here in the Northeast are like, get away from my fucking pie. Like, what are you doing, motherfucker? Like, I'll fuck you up. Like, it's so weird, man. We're so fucked up out here. Like, it's people in the Northeast, like Boston and New York and those areas. Like, we're so, like, ready to fucking fight or, like, argue about something or, like, what are they doing or what's this? Fuck this. And everybody I run into from LA is like, dude, I don't know why you're doing that. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and so relaxed. You guys are so relaxed and laid back that out here will be like say, like, your friend, you can be friends with everybody, you know what I mean? But out here, it's like we draw lines in the sand or something. So, like,
oh, really?
You could be friends. Yeah, like, you could be friends with somebody and then be friends with a different person, and then you would have people mad at you, like, dude, why are you friends with this one and not the other? And you'd be like, I don't know, because I just nothing. I don't know. They didn't. I think he's fine. He never did anything to me or whatever. And people out here are like, yeah, but it's blah, blah, blah. And like, and that's just, I've noticed that's the mentality out here versus over there. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? It's like a weird. It's like, it's different. We're way more up, like, I don't know, like high strung or like even like I've seen people get like pushed around a lot more from out there, like where people are like, I'm not gonna worry about that, man, forget him, whatever. Where out here it's like, I'll fucking get him, like, like it's like, it's just a different thing. I don't know.
I guess I get what you're saying, but I mean, I guess out here, like, like that mentality is kind of like, I guess that goes towards the gangbanging stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not none of that, then that really isn't the case or issue.
Yeah, the gangs are doing that
on a regular. Yeah, exactly. But it's more or less, if you're involved in that, then that's pretty much the one of the aspects of the mentality you would have.
So we're all gangs. We're all gang members out here.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, no, it's looked at like let's use the community in a way, like, vaguely. Like, let's say there's a dude like in my community, right? And he like docks, like he gets somebody's Twitter account taken down, and then he like gloats about it. Then he goes on someone else's show, right? I'm just making this up. This didn't really happen, but like, I'm just saying. Like, there's a dude like D Moon, like, he was so relaxed from the West Coast, so relaxed. Like, he might be like, he would like talk with that guy, and because he didn't do anything to him. He's just a relaxed guy. But guys from the East Coast would get, like, I feel like, would get mad at that. They'd be like, if someone did that to you, like, I would be like, fuck that guy. He's not coming on here or whatever else like that. Whereas, like, D Moon or somebody like that would be like, well, he didn't do anything to me. Like, that I don't like what he did, but, I don't know. I don't have a problem with him. So we've got this weird, like, pit bull loyalty to each other. I don't know, or something, like, dude, I'm telling you, like, I've seen it. I've seen it with guys, and because I've seen people have come to me before and been like, oh, it's fucked up that this guy, like, thinks it's okay to do this or that, or like, is letting this guy do this. And I'm like, well, the West Coast mentality is different. Like, they're more just, like, relaxed and, until something directly really impacts them, like, they're just chilling out. Like, it's all good, man. I mean, yeah, if somebody did something really horrific, they would know to look out. But if it's just petty stuff,
it depends on the severity of the situation.
Right. Yeah, and I've really noticed that. And I think that some East Coast people, they take it the wrong way. They take guys from the West Coast the wrong way. They take it as, like, how could you do this? This guy's, like, disrespecting this or whatever. And I'm like, no, they're just super chill, so they don't understand. But out here, there's this weird mentality to, like, support. Like, if you go to my brother's store and do this, I'm not going to treat you good. Like, I'm going to fuck you, And there's this weird pettiness out here. It's very strange. But, yeah, you guys are way more chill out there. And maybe it's the beaches. Maybe it's the sun, dude. I'm telling you, it's the sun. I really, like, part of me, like, we started this conversation with the sun. I swear to God, it's the friggin' sun, dude. Out here, people are trapped sometimes it's cold. You get less sunlight half the year. In Florida or in LA or somewhere, you're outside. You're getting that sun. So you're just way more like, everything's good. Where out here, there's more of a, like a panic or something. Like, there's, like, more of there's a short fuse. Like, it's going to be winter again soon, I swear to God, that's it, man. I got to... Right. But, dude, I don't know what I would do if the seasons changed. Like, if the seasons didn't change is what I'm saying. I know it does change for you guys, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
like, we get
it's not. Yeah, it's nothing you have to prepare for. You know what I mean? It's nothing that you have to think like, oh, this is coming up, so let me, kind of prepare. Like it stays pretty much the same. Year round.
And maybe that's why there's more. Maybe people are more relaxed because of that. They're just like, every day I kind of know what to expect. It's whatever, And over here it's kind of like, oh, fall's coming. Got to rake the leaves, and it's going to start this, and I'm going to get ready for that. And then winter's coming, so then we got to get whatever, whether it's fire or the snow shovels or whatever's going to happen. Stuff's going to get cold, so the heat's going to kick on. Then you got to get ACs when it starts to turn, summer out, and you get to be buying AC. So there's 4 changes. There's 4 different seasons out here, and it feels like you're living in a different area a quarter of the time every year. So part of that's cool, but I don't know. That's the way I always, really thought of it.
Well, I mean, a lot of it's Hollywood too. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to, I guess, like LA, like the dream. Everybody's trying to, like get noticed for doing something. I guess you could say.
You guys have all the scumbags coming to live near you. That's the thing I wanted to say to you. You've seen that your whole life has been, half of these people are from LA, but here comes the fucking Arkansas cocksucker who thinks he's whatever. Do you guys talk about that out there? Like, yeah, he's a outsider, or do you have like a name for people that fame whore or something like that?
No, because it's so diverse that you're just used to it. It has been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like one way and then it just changed to be that way. It's always been that way. So, it's just, like being born and raised here, like growing up here, like you're just used to different people, different races, different cultures, different walks of life, just being around constantly. Like, you know what I mean? That's how school life was, growing up and all that stuff. So like, you're just kind of used to that. And then also too, like just touching on what you were saying slightly earlier, just like about, connections with different people and things like that. And you know what I mean? Like being a wrestler, like I've seen so much of that, like and you know, I've been a part of that, you know, because and I can relate to that in a sense that when you're a wrestler, you're working with so many different promotions, you know, especially on an independent scene. And these promotions usually for the most part, you know, are territorial, and it's like, oh well, you know, if you know you work for, you know, NWA, you know, from Hollywood, then you know you can't, you know, like work over here kind of deal, and this and that kind of deal,
Oh.
you know. So like I see it in wrestling a lot, a lot, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things to where like I already have like the mentality, or already have been hip to it and already been prone to you know, just kind of say like, you know, like my objective and my goal as the talent, as the performer, is to perform, or to showcase for the fans my abilities wherever I can, however I can, kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not
So
thinking about the weird arguments that are
yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
So it's kind of like that's like that already goes over my head, like
Mhm.
with, you know, like
Yeah.
promotions and this and that, like who they use, how they use them, and this and that. Like my objective is to go around and, you know, present myself on, you know, like the platforms that I can, you know, kind of deal. And you know, it's just one of those things too, where it's like, you know, if you were a fan sitting in the audience and you let's say for example saw the same talent or the same wrestler you know show up, you know, on another show or something, you'll probably be like, oh well, you know, like, you know, you'll probably have like, you know, kind of like you said, that mentality that some people have. And you know, like as the performer, like it's you're the way that fan would see it, like they don't see it from the performer's standpoint. They only attach their emotional feelings towards whatever it is, whether it be loyalty to just that company, or whether it be, you know, whatever the case may be.
So
From a talent standpoint, it's totally different.
yeah. Oh yeah. Like
You know what I mean?
the fans are getting
Yeah.
in all that stuff. I've got a lot of that, you know. I've got a lot of this mentality left over still too. I mean, I only wrestled for a couple of years technically, really. And I've still got a lot of that mentality my whole life, of that kind of carny mentality that
Exactly.
a lot of people don't get. And so sometimes like I'll just fuck stuff up all over the place because like
Right.
I don't even realize I'm doing it sometimes. Like, but like I'll do it, and then people will get real mad, and I'll be like, oh yeah, like
And
I'm doing
I
the
totally get that. I totally get that, man. Hey, always booking the angle, right? Like,
yeah something.
it's like, yeah, and I get that. Like, as a wrestler, like,
Yeah.
you know, like I can appreciate a good work. I can appreciate a good setting something up, setting an angle, or, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's, you know, those types of things are fun because, you know, like, I mean, everybody's hip to the game. That's what wrestlers do all the time on a weekly basis. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they're
Like we're all friends for the most part.
and right,
but
and
and we're
everyone's
gonna
doing
laugh
something.
about how we're gonna make you think that we fucking hate each other, and what, you know what I mean? And it's funny too because I think the best of friends actually put on the best feuds.
Yeah, a lot of times because yeah, they're so close and they're so comfortable. They'll be like, dude, hit
And,
me up with
right.
this. Like, tell me.
And you know each other to where you could play off each other. You don't even have to like, you know what I mean? Like plan things per se. Things just happen because you already have that chemistry so close with one another. I think, you know, I think about Eddie and Benoit, like their matches and things like that, like how they were just so in tune and so connected, you know, with each other. At that time, you wouldn't think they were the best of friends. You wouldn't have known that, but damn, I could see why they the chemistry that they had was what it was because they were that close. And you know,
I don't remember what you said in yours, but it makes me think of like the raps, like kind of like it's like we
mhm.
like I wouldn't have said what I said to somebody like unless I was like, all right, he'll be
he'll
all right with
he'll
this.
get it.
Yeah, somebody else like whole like like you wouldn't do that. Like
Same thing. Same
yeah,
thing when I was coming up with the lyrics. I was like, oh, Ooh,
Like I could
this
take
is
you.
oh, this is bad. Like, oh, but nah, it's Joe.
No, yeah, I'll take your wife like until the
right,
when you
exactly. It's like I wouldn't say this to somebody I didn't know or feel like they wouldn't have been comfortable with. So I mean,
Mhm.
it was like one of those things where it's like, oh, but I know him.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know his mentality. I know that, like he gets it. He'll understand. You
Now,
know what I mean?
I've got people. I think I've got some people worked up so much that they don't think that is my mentality though. They think I'm like you better not say anything about me. Like so like I've worked that like so much that like dude that like there's people out there that believe like that I'm like raging mad about like all these different things, and like I've heard people get mad or talk about me before, and I'm like, wow, like it's really. I've really created this like I'm a fucking evil villain like just meanwhile I'm just sitting here like I'm really
evil. You're evil, Mr. McMahon.
yeah I'm McMahon dude to some people. It's crazy like but it's it's a little bit true though, but it's like but then there's some of it that's not, but a little bit like McMahon. I'm a little bit like McMahon with my brand, if you want to call it brand or whatever the fuck JD calls it, his brand. I don't really get into that, but it's whatever I'm doing here, like I'm a little like, because Vince was like that. Whenever I hear stories about him, like JR told that one recently where he was like, "Oh, I got to move back here because of whatever," and Vince let him go, but then Vince got mad at him, and he was like, and JR's like, "I asked you if it was okay to leave, and then you said it was all right, and then I left, and now you're mad." And I'm a little bit like that, so I'm like, man, I'm like fucking Vince McMahon. That's crazy. Because like Vince didn't want to tell him like, nah, don't. I need you, damn it. Like, and he didn't want to say it.
Right.
And then he got mad at him later, and it's like, you should have just told him like you needed him.
Yeah.
Troy hit me up the other day, said that to me. He was like, dude, if you need me to be on a show, I'll be on a show. And I was like, really? So all this time I was like, hey, you want to come on one night for this? And he's like, I don't know, I'm probably gonna play games or something. And I'm like, all right. Meanwhile, the guy wants me to ask him that I need him, and then I'm sitting there thinking, oh, he doesn't want to be on with me. And we're now me and him talk still every day, and we play video games and stuff. But that little bit of communication, like, and you're like, oh, yeah. Meanwhile, he would have come on. So like, I found that out the other day, and that was pretty random. And so, it's weird, dude. People are weird. People fuck with each other's heads. Like, it's so bizarre out there, and I'm definitely guilty of it. And it's definitely it definitely goes around like everywhere. And I've seen it with all the wrestling people, all the communities, all the groups. Dude, I was at wrestling school with when I was in wrestling school, technically, like in classes and being booked.
Right.
Dude, I was in there with when Kofi was in my school, like, and we wrestled. Like, I wrestled him in a tag match. And
oh shit, that's dope.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. When I saw him on Raw, it was like not even, I want to say like a year and a half later or something. And I was like, what? Because we had different names for each other, you know what I mean? So like when he comes out, and I'm like, and he's doing the Jamaica gimmick and everything, and like all these other things, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? But
right.
It was crazy.
That's Lil Ray from wrestling school.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
That's
like,
Lil Ray. That's Lil Ray. That ain't even exactly. That's what you're thinking in your head while the whole world is, admiring that individual as a superstar that they are. But you're thinking in your head like, oh man, that's just Lil Ray from wrestling.
Yeah, but I'm also like wide-eyed because I'm like, what? Because I didn't know I wasn't, we weren't like that close. We were like close for a second. You know when you meet someone and you guys are cool for a week, but then you leave, whatever. Like I separated after like a couple weeks of being around him, so we weren't like, but we would. I know we would have been because we, you know what I mean, how he was. He's not dead. I don't know why I'm saying how he was. Like he's alive still. Kofi Kingston, and became the world champion. But yeah, so like you could just tell that he was a good guy. So he was definitely just this nice guy. And there's a lot of guys over there that were intimidating, especially in chaotic wrestling, which is, New England Wrestling Academy now was Killer Kowalski's. There was a lot of intimidating guys over there. That was the old school, like still even like, dude, when I first was in that place, like, I mean, people were scary. Like the guy, Hanson was the trainer at the time, was one of the main trainers.
Yeah.
And
those guys are cool. We did a show together. I remember, I think a couple years ago, we were in Mexico, and they were on the card. A bunch of other good guys too. I think Ricochet was on that card too. That was around the time that Titus O'Neil had just started doing his I guess you could say faction, his stable or whatever.
Oh yeah. Ring of Honor was killing it then at that time, right?
Say that again.
Ring of Honor was doing well at that time. That was probably Ring of Honor's. A lot of the crew from Ring of Honor.
Yeah. It was man, who was on that? I think Sami Callihan was on that card. Phoenix. It was the War Machine. You know, they at that time. Myself. A couple other people too, man. Ricochet, like I said. Shane Strickland. Swerve. You know, he's down at NXT right now doing his thing. He was Killshot in Lucha Underground. So we had a good card. I think Jeff Jarrett was on that card too. Jeff Jarrett and Karen was there as well. Getting back to Hanson, super cool guys, by the way. They're so chill. But it was funny because we were the show was over, so we're all wrapping up. We're getting ready to leave, right? And they take us upstairs and out the back of the building. Because the fans are like, they're still the type of fans that they'll wait for you, and like it'll take an hour to leave. Literally walking from the locker room
in Mexico
to the front. Mexico. So so they take us out through the back, upstairs through the back, and it's like a little side street around the building in the back, kind of deal. But the fans, they not all of them, it's not as chaotic, but they're kind of wised up to that spot. So we were leaving, and both a War Machine was in front of me, and I was right behind him, because we were getting, escorted to the truck or whatever that was taking us. But we had to walk down the street just slightly, a little bit. So we're walking, and this dude he's looking, and he looks around. I don't know if he knew that I was behind him. Because we were like in the back of a group of like 5 or 6 people. So, and I could tell like I'm right behind him and they're walking. I could tell like he's like nervous because he's like, what, like the area. He's like, like he's just like, he was kind of jittery, kind of walk. He's looking around. He's like looking both ways kind of as we're walking down the street. And me, I'm comfortable, like I do lucha, so I've been at that venue 1,000 times. Like I don't have a problem going down there, but you could tell like, he's kind of like a little uneasy because he's like Mexico. He probably, I don't know. I'm just speculating now.
With the Warbeard Hanson or one of the other guys?
Yeah, Hanson.
Hanson. Yeah, come on, Hanson. North Andover? That's scary as hell out there. It's so probably worse than
walking
Andover.
Down the street, we're walking, and then he looks back, like directly at me. I'm right behind him. And then he looks back at me, and I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, bro. It's cool. I'm here. I got your back." And he's like, "Oh, all right, cool, bro." It was just one of those things. It was funny that it's like, dude, you're like 2 times my size, but I'm the one like, "Hey, I got your back, bro. Don't trip, man. Anything goes down, man. I'm ready to fuck some shit up."
I know a minority, right? We know a minority around here. All you gotta know,
it was just funny.
Jesse Ventura said it, man. All you gotta know is cerveza, and you'll be all right. All you need to know is cerveza. No, that's hilarious, man. But yeah, first time in Mexico, you can, dude. I mean, because then you hear all this stuff about Mexico, you're like,
yeah.
I mean, they're gonna,
and I don't blame them. It's just like, that you see this big dude kind of freaking out. Walking down the street, and I'm like right behind him, tripping because I know exactly how he's feeling.
Yeah,
even though obviously he's not like saying it or just but you could tell in his body language he's like real fidgety and paranoid kind of deal.
This motherfucker worked Lowell in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Like he can't be that. I mean, like like it's just funny, dude. Like some of the worst places like you could think about. Like I feel like. And I just envision, like, I bet you Mexico ain't as bad as, like...
It was just funny because I could tell that I was his comfort. When he looked back and saw me, he was relieved. I'm like, yeah, it's one of us here. Don't trip. I got you.
That's great. That's fucking funny. Yeah, those guys are good, man. That guy taught me. That guy for like a second. Like he only trained me for a little bit, but yeah, it's weird. It's bizarre.
Yeah, but they're both cool guys. Yeah, they're super sweethearts, man, for real.
Yeah, they looked like they were good at basketball the other night. Yeah, so I guess we should wrap it up. But like at the end, we'll be back with more of these. We've done a couple. We did 2 already before, but
Yes,
obviously monetize this. If I ever see you, you're around. You call up whenever, and also we'll be back with more questions next time. I didn't really give people the chance to give any questions this week. But next week, next time I'll get them up way ahead of time so we have them and things like that. But what do you think right now is the best thing going? What is like the thing you're enjoying the most out of wrestling? And also before that, when is that song gonna come out? When's that gonna drop? Should I be playing that on Monetize This or like one of these things?
Oh man, yeah, I'm working on a couple tracks right now. But I got one in mind, man. Yeah, that I definitely I want to shoot to you so that way you can if you want to play it on the show or monetize this or however you like. Yeah, man, I'll definitely shoot it to you after this after we wrap up right here. But yeah, one of the things that I want to do is in a sense of rebranding myself is incorporate more the rapper aspect of me into my gimmick, into my character. So I've been doing tracks here and there and just kind of getting together a collage while I have this downtime and this quarantine and all this stuff and waiting for all this stuff to pass by. I'm just pretty much getting my stuff ready to kind of coincide with a different look for me, so to speak. So I will send you something, like I said, today after we wrap up, just as a little sample, and some people may have or may have not ever heard me rap in the community. But if you haven't, you're in for a treat because I got some fire joints that I'm cooking up right now. And yeah, man, I definitely would love to send you one and drop for the audience out there, man, to just kind of get an idea where I'm going with
I wish I was out there, man.
Process.
The videos we could do, like, see, I went to school for like video production and like radio and stuff. So like, I always thought I would be in LA. I always thought I was gonna go to LA, and I always planned on because I'm very social. So I always thought I'd go out there and talk up everybody I could left and right until I, got hired places and things like that. And it's weird how I didn't do that at all. But that's, but like, so if I was out there, because I think you should shoot a music. I think you could make a rap song, but then you could really shoot this music video.
Right.
Nowadays you can do so much stuff like with video and at home with just a green screen and whatever. And so, yeah, you could really make something crazy and create this new gimmick, like, especially
I totally agree.
If you're not ready to go anywhere yet and you're still on the independents too, like you really, I don't know, like almost
play with it. Play with it. And you're absolutely right. Like, it's like one of the things that like, see, I haven't really been putting too much thought into it because, I'm always thinking about, okay, well, what's the next, where I'm assigned next, what's the next TV deal? What's the next, I'm always thinking about the, the TV production, obviously, just coming from, Lucha Underground and being on TV and all that good stuff and, having a good resume under me already and pretty much transcending the business, I will say, because, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but Famous B is the guy who made managers cool again. I will say that. I will say that.
Yeah.
I mean, before me, you didn't see managers in WWE. There's a lot of aspects that has been taken from my character from Lucha Underground, and now you see it. You've seen it multiple times in WWE. You've seen it through Titus O'Neil. You've seen what they did with Lio Rush. You even seen what they did with Paul Heyman. Before me, Paul Heyman wasn't introducing his own clients per se. So you can see little trickles of Famous B.
Well, and also they were watching Lucha because all these sort of like reality segments and movie shot segments behind the scenes started in Lucha. The whole thing was kind of based on part of that, putting that together, putting the stories together almost like a movie, and then executing the actual match in the ring later. Like Lucha Underground really started that before even the Broken stuff.
There was times that I heard that they had scouts in the audience. There was multiple occasions that, that was, the word going around,
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were definitely watching for sure.
Yeah.
And, you could just kind of see it now. You could kind of see it now with the way that they're utilizing, Zelina Vega or Drake Maverick. And like even now AEW, you got Taz now coming and kind of doing the gimmick or role.
So I get it. You think you invented the managers, what you're saying to me, Famous B. That's what you're saying. No, but you really it really brought it back, because that was a whole character, man. Like, it was not just a manager, but the character, the presentation that you guys had with that. It was like, oh yeah, like, because Vince hates managers apparently, I guess now or whatever, and all these people hate that idea.
That's what I was hearing, yeah.
Oh my God, dude, I haven't seen a promo like that, even to this day, even now. There's not been anything like when you debuted in Lucha Underground since, I mean, when I was a kid, and, maybe even a little bit later in the Attitude Era, those vignettes that you remember, yours, like, I'll never forget yours, man. It's weird that I know you, because, like, I'll never forget seeing those. Like, there's a few people, maybe like 20 in total, that I can think of going back to 1988, where I remember that person's push or beginning or vignette or tease or whatever. Right. And there's a whole bunch you forget because they were meaningless or whatever. Right. But yeah, like, that was the one in Lucha Underground that I was like, what the fuck? Like, you were like a whacked out car salesman, I thought, like, at first.
Right. And yeah, like, just like you'll never forget Mr. Perfect throwing a football to himself, shit like that, right?
Yeah, he got to do it a lot more, like, with a million of those. You had a shorter span of that, but, like, when you were doing it, it was like, oh, like, this is great. So, yeah, like, it's weird that nobody else is really, I haven't really seen that again anywhere, and I'm surprised that WWE doesn't do more of it, because, and they are doing a little bit where they're cherry picking from people that can do that stuff. Like, oh, this guy can cut a promo really good in a pre-filmed situation. We should do that, because they need a lot of that right now. They need a lot of those type of things. So again, you're a guy that, like, you know what I mean? I'd bias, but I would utilize this guy, Famous B, because you can do you can do wrestling commentary, the promos in the back.
Ring announcing.
Yeah,
I've done that.
You're like Cole Cabana is a little bit like that too. He can kind of do that too. And yeah, you guys are like almost like the utility guys that I would be like, you got to get him, because he could at any moment do anything we need done. You know what I mean? Like, and never, you want to get that. I'm sure you're like this, that you want to get this full potential. Like, you hit a pretty high mark with Lucha Underground stuff, but you really want to, like, you got to be feeling like where's that next step? I need that next step. It's got to be here. It's got to be coming.
Absolutely. It's easy to get, I guess, kind of lost and caught up in that, feeling a little bit, I guess, undervalued. I kind of feel like I'm a very underrated talent in the wrestling business, because, like we just said, I could wrestle, I could manage, I could commentate, I could ring announce. There's really nothing I can't do in the business. And even behind the scenes, I've been a trainer from the Wrestling Academy here in LA, where I graduated from, the Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, where, you probably seen that venue, and like Ronda Rousey's like package when she debuted in WWE. She was training out here with a good buddy of mine, Brian Kendrick, you know what I mean, at our dojo. So I've trained students there, and just been a part of that entire process, and so I can also do that because I'm a natural leader. I'm a natural person that is willing to, share my experience, because I feel like, it's not, everything that I know is not for me to just keep within myself, like, I'm willing to be that guy to share the experience, to share the knowledge, because I'm a natural leader. And, It's one of the things that it's one of the qualities about me that I can also do. So it's not even just a on-screen persona. It's not just in front of the camera, behind the scenes. How I am, how I react with my peers, my fellow peers in the locker room, how I react with the producers of the shows, with the agents of the shows. I'm one of those guys where they can come and they can give me something, or they can give me a script, and I'll go out there and I'll nail it exactly, if not better than what they expected. That's just how I am. That's what I've proven to myself. You know what I mean? Lucha Underground was a huge eye opener for me in terms of what I can do, in a acting way, so to speak, when it comes to scripts and things like that. Because, before then, it was all just what I knew from watching wrestling all my years and training to be a wrestler. But you really don't, there is no, there really is no class for promos per se. You have it or you don't. But that's one thing. But going on a program and presenting yourself on a TV show from a Hollywood standpoint, that's completely different. And everything you see me do in Lucha Underground happened organically, and it happened with just my experience from being in the wrestling business, which didn't really per se prepare me for that role that I had to play, because my character was, I was a mouthpiece. You know what I mean? They literally told me, we look at you like our Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah.
Yep. So I took that and I took that and I ran with it, kind of deal. So, I do kind of feel like I'm a Renaissance man when it comes to pro wrestling. I feel like it's my passion. I feel like it's something that I could do in my sleep. It's, it's something that comes natural to me. So, there are opportunities that I probably should have already had, but I'm not going to sit here and dwell on that. What I'm going to do is pretty much take the reins by the horn and, reinvent myself, because, everything that I have done has been copied and we could see it clear as day. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, cool. So, I'll make another famous
do
beat.
it again. Do it again.
Yeah. And I'll use my other talents. I'll use my rapping aspects, and reincorporate that and come out with something fresh, because, I have the talent to reinvent myself, because it's free flowing. You know what I mean? There is no boundaries to it. There is no limits to it. It is who I am. Like, it doesn't matter where I'm at or what I do. I'm always going to be the individual that has the talent and skill to present myself to a public and an audience and entertain them, because that's what I have in me, whether it be through wrestling, whether it be through music, whether it be through maybe even comedy. However, that's what I'm all about. And so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, maybe it's time to reinvent the wheel, since time is ticking. I'm not getting any younger. And now, with everything that's going on in society, and and the way things have changed in terms of people getting signed and things like that, and how companies are preserving a little bit more, maybe it's the time right now where I kind of reevaluate my self, rebrand myself, reinvent the wheel, and come out with something dope, that people will want to copy again after I do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate on that level. It feels like every time I do something, like it pops up somewhere, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck do I do now? So I get you there. But
reinvent the wheel. Reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, if you just keep swimming, dude, like, I don't know, it just keeps coming eventually to you. It's weird. You'll get to land eventually. But nah, you should do that, man. You could cut promos on people on raps or all kinds of things. Remind people who you are. Get out there. Do something. I would say one controversial thing every rap, and then the dirt sheets would pick it up every time. And then, like, famous B takes a shot at fucking whoever, like in AEW, like, you know, he's like, and I think eventually that would catch on, man, and like people would see that and be like, oh, that's Famous B from Lucha Underground, whatever. We should try him over here. Like, we should bring that over here, you know. So I think that you're like a step away from that type of thing happening, maybe. So,
and I've thought about that. Like, that crosses my mind all the time. And I know it'll be, I know I'll be able to stir some shit up and deliver something very controversy and be able to back it up. And I thought about that, but it goes back to what we were saying in this conversation earlier, just about treading the waters lightly, you know, and, you know, like, you know, how far do you go? How far do you know to take it? Like, you know, will you be accepted after this? Or, you know, like, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of like I got to kind of put my feet in the water and fill it out and kind of like, you know, see how it feels. You know what I mean? Instead of just jumping in head first, because, you know, like, everything that I've done so far obviously is extremely important to me. And, you know, I have to kind of protect that as well. So it's kind of like one of those middle, like, you know, lines drawn in the sand where it's like, where do you go? Where do you take it? Like, how far do you go? Kind of deals. And trust me, I've thought about using a couple of choice words for what goes on in the industry, or things that I see, or things that is kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, oh, wow, nostalgia again. Okay. Yeah. How about the future? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is cool. Yeah. All right. Been there, done that. Okay. Yeah. Are we trying to get new fans here, or are we trying to reattract the old fans that's never coming back? Okay. Yeah. That's cool. You know, you know
like,
what I mean? So it's,
you could really go with that whole, like, I'm going to cross over, like, the real famous people of Hollywood here in L.A. and bring them back to wrestling, because right now you got the same old hobo in his trailer watching the show from the last 40 years, but I'm going to bring the fame, or bring the Hollywood, bring the mainstream, bring, you know, the new eyes to wrestling, and, you know, that type of thing. But
right. And that'll work. And something like that will absolutely work, because that's exactly how I feel. So it's like, when you believe in what you're saying, you know, it's not just a promo or a script. It's like, okay, it comes across as genuine. So that would definitely work. So
you need to hook up with somebody.
I'm teetering between which direction I kind of want to go, but I'm more so leaning towards what I was telling you about, just kind of reinventing my character, reinventing the famous B that's more of the wrestler in me, and pretty much, you know, just incorporating my music with it, because that's always something I wanted to do too, that I never got a chance to do. So now that I've already built, you know, a fan base around me, I can use the platform that I built for myself now to kind of introduce something I always wanted to do too. So it's kind of like, you know, it'll be fulfilling to me at least, but everybody will get a kick out of it. And I think that's what'll get the spark back going for me again.
If you can hook up with anybody in LA, like, and become friends with somebody who's like rich or has stuff or has cars or something like that, imagine you driving like a Ferrari or some kind of crazy, insane car that no one's seen, and like you can like present that and present all these things. I think that'd be kind of crazy too. And maybe you could create a rap song or remix song every time you're about to wrestle someone in the future, and you release it before the match for everybody to hear. It's like a diss on them, and it's also like, you know, pushing you up, and a diss on them. And
that's hot.
Oh,
that's
my
hot.
God,
it'll be my promos, basically.
Yeah, your promo. It'd be like, so the beat on whatever, you come up with catchphrases for it, but so you're like, the beat on fucking, you know, John Morrison, it drops tomorrow, like, and then so it's first, and you come up with names for it, like, first we drop the beat, then I drop your ass, like, and that's the next, like, dude, I'm like, that type of thing would be like, oh, he's gonna be coming out with another one on this guy now, the Young Bucks, like, you know, Matt Jackson like wants to wrestle Famous B in a singles match. And like you could talk about him and his brother looking like Raggedy Ann motherfuckers, like, like, and that type of thing. Like, I don't know, like a gimmick like that. Nobody is doing that yet. Nobody's ever done diss rap on the guy, and then you wrestle him and you come out to the diss. Like, and then that's on YouTube and it's getting views. Nobody's done that. That's you. We've solved it.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. There you go.
And it sounds like that's where you kind of were going. So that's why let's paint it like fuck it. Like,
exactly. But the way you articulated it is it kind of takes it kind of takes that and it puts it kind of into perspective to where it's like, there you go. Yes, you're right. You see it like, you spark my creativity and you spark the thought process and the ideas, but the wheels was already turning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, that's why you my dude, man. That's why I get down with you, man. Cause
that's why. Like,
yeah, man, we just vibe and feed ideas off each other. And next thing you know, it's
that's why, dude, I always, even like in wrestling, like when I was talking with people like wrestling, WWE, places like that, like I always wanted to do that. Like I always wanted to be an idea guy. I don't want to be the guy necessarily writing the entire story or whatever, or and obviously I'm not going to really be a wrestler anymore at all. But I want to be that idea guy. Like, what do you think? And then what do I think? Let's put it together and come up with these ideas. Because I'm always coming up with these ideas on my show. So there's a little piece to that puzzle that we're all a lot of times missing or could be added, and when you get ideas from people, you're like, yeah, that helps me complete the puzzle. And you were, like you said, you were going that direction there, but that would be what I would get to if you can get, especially if you start it independent wise, and it picks up a little bit. I mean, look at the dude rips his shirt off and dives on a toaster. Like he's like the super guy, whatever, super ass or super bad or whatever the fuck his name is, I don't know, but he's like super over with everybody, and like the wrestlers are inviting him to shows and everything, and it's like, imagine, like, I'm excited for guys like you, because imagine what you can do if that guy can do that. You're a wrestler already, and you can already talk, and you've all got all these other things. So imagine the stuff that wrestlers should be able to do with the power of the internet, and YouTube and social media and shit like that. And you shop that to your buddies.
That's where I lack. That's where I lack, though. The social media, the marketing, things like that. That's where I lack. I have the talent to do what's needed to be done for the public eye, but I don't have the patience to sit there, and constantly tweet and that's kind of where I, that's like the downside. That's my weaknesses. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely need someone to agent, I guess you could say, me, and kind of balance me out in terms of how to present myself.
Well, I'm the famous B. I'm signing people, famous B. I'm signing people, dude. I'm like, I'm the agent, man. And I remember in that thing, like when I was in a band, I found out about that. I found out about managers and agents and talent guys and stuff like that. And that was something I always wanted to do too. Was be like, the guy that the movie That Thing You Do or whatever came out. I remember that guy in his trailer was the one that brokered the deal with those guys getting signed. And I was like, is that really how it works? That's crazy. So this guy gets a percentage of the contract and sells them away to the record. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. And
which is cool with me because I just wanna perform and do my thing. I don't want to have to worry about talking to the company, negotiated and contracts and this and lawyers and this and that. That's where that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is the creative process of the creative outlet and presenting my talent. That's what I specialize in. My talent isn't sitting in the office trying to figure out if we could come to terms. That's not my talent. You know what I mean?
I can't wait. My
talent isn't tweeting.
If you do that, I could cut these with it. I was thinking of I could just start cutting these funny diss raps on things, and then I was like, nah, it's pointless because I'm not going to do anything, so whatever. But yeah, you doing that would be, like you said, you're working on these songs right now, and if you did that and then you did the videos, oh my god, dude. And especially if you sent them to people that you're friends with in the business already, and you
okay, look, I'm gonna stop you right there because I'm gonna have you laugh. I'm gonna have you and everybody that's listening fucking laugh. Okay. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right, dude. This side of me is already infectious. What do you mean by that? All right, I'll tell you what I mean by that. You see how John Morrison is doing rap music videos with Miz on WWE TV?
Yeah. Yeah.
It came from me. It came from me. The one day we was hanging out. I swear to God, one day we were hanging out, we were chilling, and I was listening to this one song, Amigos, and the chorus came through dripping, came through dripping, and or whatever the case may be. And he was listening. He's like, dude, that song's cool. Like, how does that? And I was dancing to it. Like, I was doing like certain dance to it, just like we're just chilling, vibing to the song. He's like, oh man, how does that go? And then I was like, oh, like this. And it came through dripping. He's like, yeah, I like that. Came through dripping. And he started doing it. And then next thing you know, he started calling himself Johnny Drip Drip.
Oh my God, dude. That's so whacked out, dude, how that happens. Oh, that's crazy.
And yeah, and then I see him with the music video. And I'm like, this guy, he really took that name I gave him and ran around with it.
Did you text him like, what the fuck? Like,
no, I just was like, oh yeah, we gotta check out, some more music, some more songs I got.
Yeah, dude. I think you should definitely do that, and those guys will help you, because like we're all creative people everywhere, and people are always taking ideas and stuff. And we're always brainstorming with people, and I think you need everybody when like, hey, I'm gonna come up with something maybe because I talked to this guy or that guy. That happens in wrestling so much that it's crazy. How many times have you heard, like, I've heard like a story or whatever in wrestling, and like, well, that came from Bob, whatever the hell, like he told me this, and you're like, whoa, that would have never happened if that guy never went out to eat after a match one night with this other wrestler who was like a local guy or something like that. And then the guy kind of like took the idea, piled onto it, and then came up with this great idea. And it's just, man, it's weird how these ideas come and how they can, and how so many people help you that you don't even know about and can help with ideas and stuff like that, and where you get them from. But we got to get out of here because my wife's going to kill me. Everybody, Famous B, hit him up on Twitter. Give him love over there. It's easy. It's literally Famous B23. 23 is easy to remember. Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Is that, why do you have the 23?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Oh, it's Jordan.
Right. Yep.
Oh, boom! There you go. Yep. That's why I always remember.
That was the rhyme or reason.
Famous B23 on Twitter, and look for what he does in the future. He's got the YouTube channel now too, I think, right? So.
Right. Yeah, I do. It's pretty much littered with like a lot of my old classic matches and stuff like that. So yeah, man. If you haven't seen my work, go ahead and check it out, man. I got some classic matches in there with a lot of recognizable guys, and just a whole bunch of stuff.
I was always super blown away, man, when you found me and stuff like that too. Like a lot of wrestlers, when they find the show and stuff like that, it's it means something to me because I care a lot about what people do, and like I'm a fan of you guys, like for all these different reasons. And so when anybody in the wrestling business like comes along or follows, like I remember when Drew McIntyre was Drew Galloway, and he would say stuff, and I was like, man, Drew Galloway's watching the show. That's crazy, like that's nuts. Or when you came along, and then just so many other people, and it's like, it's crazy. Like, it's because and you never know, like, whether you're being critical or good to somebody that night. But, at the time, I think only I had somebody covering Lucha for me, and we were doing it on the website or something. So it was like weirdly hidden. So we really didn't talk a lot about Lucha, but me and Dave Rose used to do a Lucha podcast. So, but
that's cool. I never knew that.
Yeah. I got to pull that up somewhere. Yeah, he was doing it for me at one point, and then me and him had done it. And luckily, I mean, it's too bad there's nothing bad because it'd be funny to listen to it, but like we only said good things about you, so it was like just coincidental. But you never heard it, so it's not like you came around because we were saying good things. But like, we were, because we were like, oh, I like this character, and like, what's he gonna be? And I like what they're doing, and so yeah, it was always good about you. So it's kind of funny, but it could have been bad, but it was all good stuff. But yeah, man, we'll do more of these, and in the future we'll get questions. You guys can go back and listen to the previous ones me and Famous B did. I'll link those up. Check out his YouTube channel for all his matches. And he's probably gonna have this revamped YouTube channel coming soon in the future, I think, too. So go get subscribed over there. He's got 349 subs. Doesn't do much, but he's coming with new stuff, I bet, on the YouTube. Is that song that you're making? I mean, I know I'm going to get a clip. We're going to play some of this. but he's going to be making a bunch of other stuff, mixtapes, mix songs, whatever you want to call it, his own creative stuff. Are you going to put that on the YouTube channel?
I'm thinking eventually, but I'm more or less thinking going like the SoundCloud route.
Yeah.
Just kind of see what happens. You know what I mean? It's just, it's all an experimental process, but so it's really no set I guess platform per se, but I would say probably SoundCloud, first, and then I kind of see where it goes. But most definitely, you'll be getting it right here first. I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah! Oh, we get the debut, man.
You guys definitely get the heat first. So once again, man, just send you a little something, and then you guys check it out. But you guys gonna hear it first, definitely.
Hell yeah! Everybody, famous B. I'm Joe Cronin. Goodbye. We'll see you next time.